right, well, hope y'all are doing well today. We're gonna start off nice and easy. Sorry about Monday, had all kinds of lovely internet issues and wasn't even able to finish the video, so there was no yoga on Monday, so hopefully this kind of makes up for it. Turn the air down for a sec here. Okay. Well, let's start off today on our back. So let's go ahead and lay on down, and knees can be bent. Hello, can't see. We'll have feet flat, and you can have your knees about a hip's width wide. And find a position that's comfortable. So if you need to prop your head up on a pillow or something, or even prop your lower back up on a pillow just to give some relief there in case laying on the floor is not comfortable, that's an idea. You can place your hands on your belly or on the mat next to you. And just take some deep breaths. We're going to gradually work those shoulders down from the ears so you can feel like you're pinning your shoulder blades down on the mat. Another idea is to kind of work your tailbone away from your shoulders, so away from the upper back, just so that you get that feeling of stretching and lengthening in the lower part of your spine. As you inhale, make sure your belly is pressing up toward the ceiling, so try not to allow it to come back up into the chest and shoulders. Keep that inhale down at the level of your belly. Okay, we're going to inhale. Let's bring the knees up toward the chest, hug with both arms. Big breath in, exhale, send the hands out overhead and stretch the toes out. So we're spreading out the toes, reaching the feet as far away from the middle as we can. Again, we're going to inhale, bring the knees up toward the chest, hug with the arms. Big breath in, exhale, send the hands out overhead, stretch the feet away from your hips. Stretching out those fingers and toes. Getting in your yawns. All right, we're going to bring the legs up again, this time cross at the ankles. We're going to grab hold of each foot or each ankle. Give yourself a couple of rocks. Not real rocks, the kind that make you move, those kind of rocks. All right, sitting up nice and tall for a moment, we're going to drop the chin to the chest. Move this so you can hear me. And then lift the chin toward the ceiling. And dropping the chin to the chest. And lifting toward the ceiling. Bring the head and chin back to neutral. You can drop one ear over your shoulder. And to the other side. Once again to one shoulder. The other side. Apparently yawning is a good sign for like talking and singing and stuff, so my incessant yawning is not a bad thing. All right, head back to neutral. We're gonna move forward on the mat. And take a second going through cat and cow. So back nice and flat. Make sure your knees are at least a shoulder width wide. We're gonna inhale, lift your forehead and tailbone. Big exhale to round, tucking your forehead, tucking your tailbone under. Inhale, lift your forehead and your tailbone. Pull those shoulders down from your ears. Feel like your shoulder blades are pulling together. Exhale to round. And then we're going to return to neutral. Send the knees out wide. Bring the big toes together. Let's go ahead and stretch on out, opening up through the upper body. So sitting back on your heels if you can and allowing the tops of your feet to stretch. And if you can't reach back that far because your knees or your hips are bugging you, just keep your weight forward on your forearms. Okay, we're going to inhale to draw up. Let's take one leg and just inch it forward, way up there. Both hands on the inside of the foot. And just a super passive stretch. We're just going to sink those hips down and forward. You don't have to lift through your chest. You don't have to do anything fancy. Just settle those hands down inside that front foot. Allow the knee to butt up to the outside of your shoulder. Just kind of relaxing and opening up through those hips. We're going to inhale. Let's bring that leg back. Big toes together again. Big stretch back. And remember, you can reorient your hands. You can bring them closer together or more of a stretch on the inside of your back. You can move them apart to get more of a stretch in your chest. Two more big breaths, pressing that belly toward the floor as you breathe in. And again, we're going to bring it forward. Bring those knees in for a sec. Pull the other leg up, nice and passive. Both hands on the inside. Just sinking those hips. Checking out your toenails that need to be cut. Wiggling around if you need it, moving those hips some. Awesome. One more big breath in. We're going to move that leg back and one more time. Knees out, big toes together. Settle it back. Moving those hands out away from the shoulders. So we're going to come on forward. Let's place those hands down. Knees underneath the hips. We're going to flatten out through the spine. Let's pull the shoulders down so that way the upper back is super strong. Tuck the tailbone just a tiny bit. Make that lower belly nice and strong. Big breath in. Exhale and reach one hand out in front of you. Hold nice and stable, and then when you're ready, kick the opposite leg back. Big breath in. We're going to lower those arm and leg down. Again, we're going to exhale, send the opposite arm out. Stay nice and stable. When you're ready, kick the opposite leg back. Trying to keep that strength through your core, through those abs. Inhaling, lowering that arm and leg down. We're going to do that one more time, but this time rather than moving the arm and then the leg, we're going to try to move them both at the same time. So big breath in, keeping those shoulders down. As you exhale, we're going to reach out with one arm, opposite leg. Keep that active upward pressure into the floor, so like we're pushing away from the floor as we're holding this shape. We're going to inhale, place it down, and again, exhale, picking up your arm and your leg. A nice little tight strap there across the middle of your belly. And then lower down when you're ready. Awesome. Okay, we're going to bring the wrists up off the floor so that they don't fall off. And if you need to, you can fold your mat over to give yourself some extra cushion for your knee. We are going to be up on our knee for a sec here. I'm going to pull my hands up, fall off. We'll take. All right, so we're going to start off nice and basic. So front leg's a little ways in front of us. We're going to start with tucking the hips under, getting a good stretch into the front of our hip flexors. And we're lifting through the chest. Taking a couple of deep breaths. Awesome. Now from here, we're going to take both hands, bring them up overhead, and then reach back slightly. So even more of a lift, and allowing the hips to move forward a little bit. So keeping that tuck, the hips will move forward slightly, or reaching those hands up and back. Hold the crescent moon. Two more big breaths here. We're going to take the hands, float them down toward the mat. You can move your hips back. Just fold over that front leg. Breathing in and out a few times. We're going to come on up. Let's bring those hands together behind the back. So we're clasping the hands back here behind the spine. We're going to inch that front foot forward, still get that little tuck of the hips, but then moving the body much further forward than it was before. So we're straightening out through those arms. I look really buff in this video. Straightening out the arms or just pulling your elbows back. Still getting that stretch on the front side of your back hip. If you get a tingle through the spine, through your quad, then you need to back up a little bit, because it could be overstretching the nerve, so no tingly quads. Big breath in, we're going to exhale one more time. Hips back, hands forward, holding over that leg. Awesome. All right, we're going to sit down for a second, give the legs a rest. You can bob out the knees if you need to. Bob. Who's heating now? And we're going to be repeating on the other side. So you need to go through that same process of folding your mat over or putting the pillow underneath your knee. Then go ahead and do that, because bone on floor generally doesn't feel good. Okay, so knee down, other leg in front. And starting off with the same basic stuff. So we've got our foot not too far away. We're tucking those hips under. We're lifting the spine up tall. Keeping that pressure into the floor through your front foot and through the top of your back foot so you don't fall over. And then to take it a step further, we're bringing those hands up, overhead, arching back slightly. So we're not moving the weight too far forward, but we're keeping those hips tucked, arching those hands back. and those shoulders down quite a ways. So try not to start choking yourself with your shoulders. Big breath in. We're going to exhale, move the hips back, place the hands down all nice and pretty on the mat. So remember, we are keeping that front leg a little bit bent, just so we can get a deeper stretch into the hamstrings. The straighter you are, start to get into other stuff. So a little bend is pretty good. You know, we're going to be taking it a step further again. So we're walking that foot forward, clasping the hands behind the back. We're either pulling the elbows back or we're straightening out through the arms. We're tucking those hips under and then moving slightly forward. This is where that knee might get kind of yucky. So you need the extra cushion. Now is the time. Couple of breaths. And once again, weight's going to go back. We're going to settle those hands down on the mat and fold it over one more again. Awesome. All right, so nice and easy. We're settling it down on the mat, bobbing out the knees. Give yourself a second. That's a whole bunch of on the knee stuff. I know that's pleasant. Okay, we're going to be meeting in downward dog next. So when you are ready, you're going to put your arms out. You can be able to flip over from here, or you can walk them forward, whatever. But put your hands down on the mat, feet behind you, tucking the toes under. We're going to pick the hips up into downward dog, or remember, your modified version would be just setting the hips back, kind of similar to what we did at the beginning. So tucking the toes under, hips up and back. And remember, keeping that slight bend in the knees, it just helps us to keep the back flat. If you try to straighten, it's a little bit harder to keep that back flat. Here, we're able to actually pick the tailbone up a little bit and get back to that normal curve on the spine. 2 more breaths. Okay, we're gonna walk the feet forward, walk the hands back. I was gonna do a harder version, but we've already done a bunch of hard stuff today. Relax those hands down, letting those shoulder blades move away from the spine. We're gonna inhale, bring those hands up, pull the elbows in toward the hips. We're tucking those shoulder blades in and together. Big breath in, exhale, reach the hands down one more time. And then inhale, we're gonna press the knees forward, hips forward. Go ahead and lift all the way up. We're gonna roll the shoulders back once again. Zoom is cutting off my head. Okay. And the other way. Okay, so we're gonna turn sideways for a couple of lateral stretchy things because we've been on so much forward and back. So start off with feet nice and wide. And from here, we're gonna turn a foot out to the side. So one set of feet forward, other set of feet sideways. You know what I mean? Hands up here. We're going to tip at the hips and reach the front arm down toward the ankle. And we're trying our best to keep that chest kind of facing sideways. So hips are moving that way, chest is facing sideways. Should be a big stretch here. Remember, if this is really, really tight on you, then reaching all the way down to the floor might not be best. You might actually want to be a little bit higher. So if you were already at the floor, maybe pick yourself up a little ways. We're not trying to push to the point we're in pain. We're just trying to get to the point where we find like a sticking point in our range, and we're holding that until the body decides it wants to let go. And if it doesn't let go, then that's where you stay. We're gonna inhale, bring it on up. Let's pull that leg in, foot in, that set of feet in, turn the other set of feet out, and bring those hands up to the side. Hips go back, one hand down, other hand up. We have many sets of feet here. Awesome, couple more breaths. Okay, I'm gonna bring it on up. So we're gonna return to our first side. So bring that foot in again. Other foot's gonna go out to the side. We're gonna go into a side angle stretch. So now we're gonna start to bend through that leg. We're gonna drop the elbow down on top of the thigh, and let's just reach the hand up toward the ceiling. We're not gonna make this one too ridiculous today because we did do a bunch of crazy stuff. But if you wanna take it a step further, just reach the hand out and away. It's just gonna make it a little bit harder to hold the posture, but you might feel a little more of a stretch here on the side. So keeping that lift through the chest, so try not to round forward. Try to pull that hand back, pull the chest open. Okay, we're gonna inhale, pull that hand in, bring the body up. We're gonna repeat one more on the other side. So turn the feet. Okay, same thing, we're bending that knee, dropping the elbow, forearm down on top of the leg. We're stretching that hand up to start with. And then to take it further, if you want, you're just stretching that arm away from you. Why this side is so funky. Same thing, getting that turn and lift through the chest. One more big breath in. On the exhale, you can pull it on up, bring your body up and out of that posture. We're gonna go ahead and lay on down. And down a couple of stretches here. So you can be down on your back where we started. Have the knees bent for a second, feet flat. And we're just gonna rock the knees side to side, nice and easy. There's a whole lot of lower body stretching and being on one knee and all that kind of stuff. Awesome. Let's go ahead and roll over onto your belly if you're comfortable with that. Onto your belly for just a second. We're going to place the forearms down on the mat and we're lifting through the chest, allowing the shoulders to pull down from the ears. Give it a couple breaths. And then from there, you can go ahead and let your head rest down on the back of your hands. So you can either rest here for the last couple minutes, or you can roll back over onto your back. Just close your eyes and chill out for these last few minutes. So I'd encourage you to lay here a little while longer. Give yourself about 5 minutes. It's usually a good way to end out your little session here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. Husband just brought the dog to take next door to get her stitches out. Anyhow, we'll be here again next week and hopefully we won't have any internet issues. So thank you all for coming and watching and all that stuff, and I'll see you on Monday.